we move on to the next fight, we've got David Dvorak versus Matheus Nicolau. Matheus Nicolau stepping in for Raulian Paiva on this one. That was the original matchup, Dvorak versus Paiva. Matheus Nicolau has stepped in, and I believe that this isn't too short notice of a fight from my understanding, but I do think that David Dvorak is going to get the win. If you're going for a Hail Mary parlay, using my parlay and you want to add someone else on, I would add David Dvorak on. I do have a decent amount of confidence in him. I do think he's pretty good. Of his 20 wins, 16 of them are by finish, 8 of them by submission, 8 of them by KO, so he is pretty well rounded. I do think he's going to be a bit better on the feet than Matheus Nicolau. On the other hand though, for Nicolau, I think that his best chance to get the fight in his favour is to take the fight to the ground. Dvorak is he's pretty slick on the ground himself. Matheus Nicolau was 2. He's more of a decision guy. He's got 9 wins by decision. I think like 6 by submission and 3 by knockout. Dvorak also a very slight reach advantage on the feet, which I guess kind of can go in his favour as well. If you look at the records against these guys on the UFC roster, I mean, Dvorak wasn't really fighting the highest level of competition prior to the UFC, but he did beat this guy Artem Tigerbov on Octagon before he managed to get that UFC run. And the Bruno Silva win doesn't really look too bad. I mean, Bruno Silva was 10-5 at one point, but he has knocked a couple of guys out since then. The Juan Similo Ronderos fight, from memory, I think that was a really short notice fight, and Juan Similo Ronderos, even though he's 4-1 and still on the UFC roster, which is pretty interesting as well. I think these guys were also former training partners, so there was kind of a little bit of talk behind that one, but he submitted him in the first round. It was kind of expected that that would happen. But anyway, on the hand of Matheus Nicolau, a couple of relatively close fights. I mean, his fight against Tim Elliott showed him a few problems. Manel Karp took him to a split decision, which a lot of people think Manel Karp won. Manel Karp is still debating that he won. I mean, understandably a split decision. If you think that you won, you kind of think that you won. But I think that if Tim Elliott's able to give Matheus Nicolau problems, then I do actually believe that Dvorak is also going to be able to give Matheus Nicolau problems. And I do think that David Dvorak's a very legit guy. Both of these guys have really good records, and a win for either of these guys is actually going to look incredible on their record. But I'm going to be picking David Dvorak. He's a little bit more experienced. He's like a tiny bit older, I guess. But no, apart from that, I do think David Dvorak has a very slight striking advantage and a very slight reach advantage. I do think he's just a little bit better kind of everywhere. I will be picking Dvorak. I do think fight goes the distance. If Nicolau's going to win though, I mean, I'm not too confident, but I think his path to victory will be by submission. I'm going to go with Dvorak, and I think he's going to win the fight by decision in this one here.